Hi learners, Miss Bordeaux here. I'm excited to do some exploration of ink and inquiry with you with some words today. Before we get started, I want you to make sure that you have some tools to help your thinking. Grab something to write with, grab something to write on, sticky notes, journal, maybe grab something to chat with. Maybe it's a stuffed animal you want to bring next to you. Maybe you have a brother or sister who might be also interested in some word work that you could chat with. If you're anything like me, you like to talk about your thinking, it'd be helpful to have someone nearby that you can chit chat with about some places where I might ask you to stop and share your thinking, either writing it down or talking with a friend. So have those things nearby. If you're noticing you don't have the tools you need for today's lesson, go find those tools. First, pause the video, go find those tools and bring them back, and we'll get started in a second. All right, learners, you may have learned about something called a suffix in the past. And a suffix is a letter or group of letters added to the end of a word to change its meaning. Today, we're going to talk about a special kind of suffix called an inflectional ending. And you're going to notice in your packets that were sent home this week, there's a section for your word work that have to do with inflectional endings. And there's going to be some lessons this week for you all to explore to help you maybe better understand or think more about inflectional endings. So before we get into our thinking and learning today, I have a message I want to share with you. Read along with me as I read it to you. Dear learners, being home the last few weeks has been different. It is important to do things to help us be happy. I have been doing a lot of activities. I have done workouts which have helped me stay healthy and positive. I go jogging around my neighborhood, walked with my boys, and stretched with yoga. My family tries to make walking together something we do each week. Sometimes we race to see who is faster and fastest. I have been playing more with my kids too. We have fun playing with toys, puzzles, and drawing pictures. What activities are you doing to stay happy? Sincerely, Mrs. Bordeaux. Take a second to pause the video and think about that question and share by either jotting it or talking to someone nearby. What activities are you doing to stay happy? All right, learners, welcome back. As I was reading our message, I noticed some words in the message have a suffix or group of letters added to the end to change its meaning. And now that I know that there is a special kind of suffix called an inflectional ending, let's explore these inflectional endings and see how they change the meaning of the words. We can use what we know about words and sometimes the text around those words to really help us think more about what the meaning could be. So, since I know that a suffix is a letter or group of letters added to the end of a base word or a word root, I'm going to go through and see if I see some examples of that. One jumps out to me in our first sentence. Being home the last few weeks. If I look at this word in our message, and that word is weeks, I know the base word is week. And there's an S added to the end, that suffix for inflectional ending. And I know the word week means a period of 7 days, and now I'm wondering, by adding the S, what does that do to the meaning of the word week? What does weeks mean? Just think about that for a second. I'm going to go through and we're going to find another example of a word that has a suffix or inflectional ending added to it. And another word that pops out to me is this word, helped. In the word helped, I know that the base word is help. And I see that ed was added to the end. That suffix ed was added to the end to now make it helped. And I'm going to be thinking about how does that change the meaning of what I know the word help means when ed is added. How does that change the meaning? Take a look at our message, and I want you to go through and see if you notice any other words that have suffixes, a word or words added to the end of it to change its meaning. You can pause the video here, you'll still be able to see the message, and go through and make a list of all those words that you notice. As you make those words that you notice, see if you can group those words together in a way that might make sense to you. Go for it. Welcome back. So, as you were doing that with your words, I went ahead and I did that with some more words that I noticed in my message. Take a second to look at my lists and notice how I decided to group the words. Now maybe your groupings look a little bit different than mine, and that's okay. For today's learning and thinking and wondering, we're going to be using this chart that I made to help us think more about how we might determine new meanings of words. So, I gave the example of weeks before we left, and I was noticing that I know the base word is week, and I know the word week is a period of 7 days. I know that's what that word means. And I'm wondering about this word weeks. And if I go back to our message, I'm going to see if there's any clues in our message that might help me to really understand what weeks might mean now. Being home the last few weeks has been different. So if I notice these words before the word weeks, last few, especially this word few, I know the word few means more than one. So I'm wondering if the word weeks might mean more than one period of 7 days or more than 1 week. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to see if I can find another word on our list that maybe I can check that with again. Let's do the word activities. So if we go here, I see this sentence and I notice the word activities. Now for this word, I know the base word is activity, which is a little bit different because it ends in a Y usually, but for this word they added an ES to the end. I have been doing a lot of activities. I know the word activity means a thing that someone can do. And I'm wondering if activities means more than one thing someone can do. And if I look at my sentence here, this word a lot is sticking out to me. It's making me think that more than one could be what activities means. A lot is more than one. So I'm wondering if adding that ES to activity to make it activities now means more than one thing or more than one activity. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to take a look at this list, and if your list looks like mine, any words that end in S or ES that you wrote down, and give a try to that. If you put more than one, does that meaning stick with the S or ES? So for weeks, more than 1 week. Activities, more than one activity. Give a try to it. Pause the video and see if that more than one fits with the other SES words in your list. So, did you notice that phrase worked with each of these examples? Me too. I noticed a thing is, the base word thing is an object. If you had an S, things, more than one object, or more than one thing. Same thing for kid and kids. I know the word kid might mean one child. Kids might mean more than one child, or more than one kid. And I did that for all the words in this list, and it seemed to match. So I'm thinking then that we might be able to make a rule about when you add S or ES to a base word or word root. When you add the suffix or inflectional ending, S, ES, to a base word or word root, it changes the meaning of that word to mean more than one. That could be our rule about adding S or ES. So learners, what we did today is we thought about root words, base words, and we thought about the endings, or one example of a type of suffix added to the end. We thought about what we knew about what the base word meant. We thought about what the word could mean with the suffix added, and we even checked our thinking by rereading it back in text. As learners and readers and writers, we can use that strategy to help us make decisions about word meanings all the time. So, in your packet this week, like I mentioned earlier, your word work section is all about inflectional endings. Today, we went through one process to really help us check in and see how suffixes or inflectional endings added to words change their meaning. We went through and tried to think of a rule for one set of inflectional endings. So for S and ES, we decided when you add it to the end of a root word or a base word, it changes the meaning of that word to mean more than one. So if you look at the rest of our chart, I'm wondering if you could do that same kind of work by thinking about the base word, notice what's added, and thinking about how that changed the word, and maybe that can help you think of a rule for each of these sections. Here's a hint. You can cross-check your thinking with some information in your packet on inflectional endings. Boys and girls, today and every day, as you're reading, writing, exploring words, you can use strategies like this in your thinking. You can do your thinking, you can check with what you know, think about what you might know now, and you can even use text with these words to help you really decide if what you're learning is accurate. I'm looking forward to learning more about inflectional endings this week with you. Have a great one.